like he's going to come into fruition with respect to his political career.
Well,
so we're excited.
We all wish him.
Yeah, we wish it. Yeah, well, yeah, I'm hearing a lot of good things about the Brathwaite race, RACE, and he's here to talk to us.
Good afternoon. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, we're gonna find what. Go ahead, speak into the mic.
Check one, check two.
Oh, good.
All right, I want to say Happy Mother's Day, everybody. We don't give credit to the mothers out there. A mother's job is never done. And so, Happy Mother's Day, please, for everyone. Go out there and make sure.
And I thank your family for letting you come down and do the interview today.
Amen.
Thank you. Yeah, my wife did want to go out for a Mother's Day brunch, and I said, I gotta do the interview. And she was like, you want me to come too? I was like, yeah, you gotta come down.
You're living dangerously, man.
And I like that because you blamed us. But
there you
go.
The
interview is 2:30, brunch is in the morning. It was our fault. It was our fault. No, again, thank you for coming down on Mother's Day. And hopefully your wife won't hate me for the whole election season. Maybe she'll forgive me by some
No worries. Hopefully she can come in on one of the future interviews and the audiences can get familiar with her as well.
Definitely. Bring you down anytime.
Cool.
You're pretty much the first person we're interviewing in this election cycle, which we hope we'll be interviewing a whole lot more.
Yep.
So you decided to run.
Mm-hmm.
Your job is an auditor.
Mm-hmm.
And so you understand that aspect of the finances, and that would help in the city when you're looking at all the numbers that makes other people go cross-eyed.
Mm-hmm.
But my first question is, what made you get back into the race? And what you're running because you feel you can bring something to the city council. Tell the audience, the people who are going to go out and vote, what your main goal is to bring to become a member of the Brockton City Council.
Thank you, Ed, for asking that question. Yes, the reason why I'm running for Brockton City Council-at-Large, again, is because last election I had a chance to really meet residents here in Brockton and build relationships. And one thing I observe about Brockton and see clearly is that Brockton residents deserve more for the tax dollars that they're paying in. Whether you're a property owner or you're a renter, you're contributing to the city of Brockton's property taxes, which pay for our public schools. So you should have safe schools. You should have safe streets. You should have safe neighborhoods. And you should also have quality roadways. Roadways that are the first impression of Brockton and make our city beautiful. But we're not where we should be. And for that reason, I'm running for City Council-at-Large.
Jamal, it's no secret, and again, thank you for coming into the studio today. It's no secret that you have been at the forefront. And let's be clear, it's not only this year, but you have been running that citizen group on Zoom for a very, very long time, reconciling the needs of residents of the city of Brockton, actually giving them an avenue to have an open conversation without any retribution, if I may use that word, or just a family conversation. What have you learned from that process in terms of how folks really want to see this? I mean, you built dialogue in that group. So what have you learned from that in terms of dialogue building in the city of Brockton?
Yeah, so that's a good observation that you made, Tony. So since April 2020, with the launch of the pandemic, many residents have gone online to Zoom as a way to engage with other residents and elected officials to understand really what's going on in the city of Brockton. And what's happened is that even though we might be past the peak of the pandemic and we're past the stay-at-home orders, we can now go back to City Hall. The Brockton Residents Forum has continued, and we meet every Sundays from 11 to 12, and it's an opportunity for residents to review the City Council meeting agendas and minutes and to reconcile that with resident priorities. For example, tomorrow on Brockton City Council is hosting a Finance Committee meeting, which is open to the public. And agenda items 4 and 5, in those agendas, the City of Brockton, through our executive branch of government, our mayor is looking to acquire through eminent domain a property located at 1782 Main Street called Millennium Motors. And he wants to acquire that property for $5.5 million. Now, that is definitely a significant purchase, and that's something that should be socialized and discussed within the public. However, no Brockton City Council at large has discussed this with the public, nor has the mayor discussed this with the public prior to proposing this to the city council. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because right now, the first question is, well, why does the mayor want to acquire this property through eminent domain? When you acquire property through eminent domain, you're doing it because it's for the public good, and you're doing it because the seller of the asset doesn't want to sell the property. Well, if you observe the finance meeting that happened about maybe 4 weeks ago, the city solicitor came before the city council and said that, well, we call this a friendly seller because they're the one of the few properties willing to sell. So that's a question mark. Why are we taking a property through eminent domain if the seller is willing to sell it to the city? Because when you acquire a property through eminent domain, by Massachusetts general laws, you need to pay 125% over the appraisal value. So guess who that's costing money? That's costing the Brockton taxpayer. So we have less money to do other things. So that's the first major red flag.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I'm glad you, Bishop Branch, asked this because I've been trying to keep up. And I will always say, but I'll never admit this, so you're much smarter than I am, and understand this more than I do. The issue is when we sell it, are we talking, and I mean
buy it.
We buy it for 125% over
The appraisal
but
value.
we were just talking about the Campanelli areas, which is really, if you take in constant dollars, is still like people are selling their house 5 times more in constant dollars than they did when they bought it, if they bought it back in the... my question is, are you hearing that when they sell it to whoever is going to buy it, they're going to sell it at a loss? Or are they also going to up the price and make something off it?
Sure. So, and I'll speak to that. And there's 2 topics that you're bringing up. And I want to address
Usually
both of them.
It's 30.
Okay, no.
But no.
So regarding the property located at 1782 Main Street, most commonly known as Millennium Motors, so the buyer in this case is the city of Brockton, and the seller would be the legal entity owners of that property. And one of the second questions I would say is, when you look at the city council meeting agenda, it says that the legal entity to be paid the $5.5 million is M Trust. But if you look up M Trust, no such trust exists in the state of Massachusetts. So what is the legal entity that's going to get paid? And when you look at the property card, it spells out who the name is, and that does not reconcile with the city council meeting agendas. But none of your city councilors have asked the question to the city solicitor, can you explain why is it that the legal entity name to be paid is different than the name on the property card? And so that's one of the reasons why I want to run for city council, because I don't think we have the visibility and the competency on the council that the residents deserve as it pertains to, in this case, the potential eminent domain of Millennium Motors.
Now, have you gone up to the city solicitor's office or the mayor or any of the councilors say, who is M Trust? Have you gone and asked?
I did. So when this first came on the city council meeting agenda, because we host the Brockton residents, we're in a position to be proactive to identify areas for advocacy before we get to that meeting. I sent an email to our city councilors, 2 of them, and what happened was that when the city council first talked about this about a month ago on the finance committee meeting agenda, they asked most of the questions that I had sent to them by email, which includes the following, and please take note. When you look on the property card of that commercial property of 1782 Main Street, you'll notice that the city tax assessor assessed the value of that property at $1.4 million this year and last year. So the first question is, why are we assessing the property at $1.4 million, but we want to buy it for $5.5 million? It gives the, it lends to the question of, has that property owner been undertaxed for the prior year and the current year? If so, why is that?
And who is I'm sorry, Bishop Branch.
No, we don't know who. We know. Yeah,
Sure.
we know Millennium
owner now.
Motors,
So,
right?
so this is public information. Anybody can look up the property card. You'll go to the Brockton tax assessor.
Yeah.
I sent an email to the city councilors with the
just
property
did.
card for their reference. I don't need to disclose that. You guys can go look it up yourselves, or you can join us on the Brockton Residence Forum and we can look it up together. But I'm not here to publicly identify any one specific person, other than to say it's a systematic issue here. And the thing about it is, when it comes to residents in Brockton, the assessment value on your property is going up.
Right,
And
right.
over 73% of the tax levy is paid for by Brockton residents, and so they deserve to have a more fair and equitable tax system in Brockton. And that's why on January 10th, 2023, I authored a bill that was filed in the state Senate by Michael Brady, and it was filed in the state house by Rita Mendez, and it's called the Massachusetts Home Protection Act. And the goal of the Massachusetts Home Protection Act is to apply a tax assessment limit cap on how much residential properties in the entire state of Massachusetts can increase by within one given year. If it's your primary residence, it would be capped at 3%. If it's an investment property, so oftentimes this is where people rent, it would be capped at 10%. And right now, when you look on property cards and you look at the change in tax assessment values, it's very often approximately, I'd say, 18% of all residential properties in Brockton received an over 15% change, increase in their assessment. In the same period that you have a population of people that have assessment reductions, or even their property card assessment value didn't change at all. Let me give you another example just to meditate on. So one issue in Brockton is that we have a grocery store called Stop and Shop located on Montello Street. Now, we were very concerned for the past couple of months that Stop and Shop was going to leave Brockton. And the reason why is because the landlord wanted to increase the price of rent. Now, when you do a little bit further research, which you can do when you come to the Brockton Residence Forum, you'll observe that that Stop and Shop is located on a 5.2 acre parking lot that is assessed at, I believe it's $9.6 million on the property card. And it was in the same prior year as well. So from a year-on-year change, there was no change in assessment values. But the commercial tax rate went down this year and last year. So really for the past 2 years, the cost of owning that property has gone down for the landlord, but yet the landlord wants to increase the rent on Stop and Shop, which could have prompted them to leave. Now,
and that's a California company.
So their address, they have a P.O. box located in San Diego. But overall, thankfully, Stop and Shop is not leaving Brockton.
China.
I'm a shopper at Stop and Shop.
Stop and Shop. Good for you. Good for you.
And so we're very dependent on that grocery store. We're happy they're not leaving. However, there is an issue where, once again, is our property tax system fair and equitable? And so that's why I authored this legislation called the Massachusetts Home Protection Act. I'm very thankful that Michael Brady took it to, for further updates so we get the right language so that it could be filed in the state Senate, and that Rita Mendez filed in the state House. Michelle Dubois is also a co-sponsor. If you're a resident in the state of Massachusetts, please reach out to your state legislature and ask them to be a co-sponsor in this so that we can make housing in Massachusetts more fair, more equitable, because it's really the property taxes that are pricing people out of homes that they can no longer afford to live in.
Wow.
Listen,
well, Jamal just gave us a mouthful. Now we clearly see.
We're definitely going to have to, because you put a lot in a few minutes, which we try, because we got, maybe 20 minutes to do an interview. But I definitely want to get you and others and here,
I think it's a good
Stand Up Strong on Brockton Cable, because there's no way for you to. What you just said was like head exploding,
right?
But how are you going to find out the information? Because there's really no way. You have the Brockton Forum. How many people can really catch that unless they're out looking for it?
But they can't relate to. But they can't relate.
Your message and other people who are running their messages and incumbents. What did you do for us lately?
Right.
We want to get them. We want to get. I'm sorry, Bishop Brand.
No, one of the things that Jamal, who initially had talked about, is having an ombudsman for the city of Brockton. I guess this kind of still speaks to having that sort of mission within the executive. But I think that, to your point, this is a lot of information. But I'm going to tell you what is not a lot of information. The payment of $5.5 million on a property that was assessed by our city at $1.4 million, using Jamal's number of 125% of that. So that technically, Jamal, and push back on me, I'm not a math guy, so that property shouldn't sell for more than 1.7 million, correct?
Oh no, so specifically, I would say what it is. So according to the city solicitor at a prior finance committee meeting, she had advised that an appraisal had been done on the property, and the appraisal, I believe she said it was about maybe like 4.7 or 4.8 million. But once again, I think that appraisal, maybe it should be available to the public. Maybe we should get more than one appraisal done on that property.
Should have been three.
Because when you look at that property historically, originally it was purchased for $400,000. And what's even more concerning...
When was that?
Whoa.
We'll have to check it on the property card.
Millennium Motors has been there for a while, so if you said something like 20
you know what's also more disturbing is that when you listen and listen carefully, everybody, for people who go before the city council to acquire licenses to open up businesses, one of the things that every Brockton City Council will ask is that are your registration documents current in the state Commonwealth of Massachusetts? If you look at Millennium Motors, they're not current.
Right.
And matter of fact, I mean, I think they've been in business for almost 20 years. And they're not current. But we want to pay $5.5 million for a property that's not even fit for purpose.
And this is a conversation about equity, because one of the things is, I'm glad you raised this point, even when we were looking at Terrasol, when we were looking at the marijuana licenses for Vanessa as well. Very, very thorough questions, to your point. Regulatory reconciliations of licensing, I remember one specific city councilor talked about how he had grabbed the information from the Secretary of State and you weren't really there was a lot going on. But on this particular purchase, crickets.
Right.
Seriously, crickets.
Absolutely. So please, everyone, pay attention to the Brockton City Finance meeting taking place on May 15th. That's Monday, May 15th. You can watch it on YouTube. It's agenda items 4 and 5. Observe how it's being discussed, because that's your tax dollars.
So Jamal, we began our conversation this morning really around these spots of violence. I said the spots of violence because we're not going to put an entire dispersion on the Brockton district. We're not going to be doing that in the show. So we know the kids had this this fight. These young adults had this fight. Young man allegedly does the stabbing videos every. What we got a call? Yeah. All right, we got a call.
All right, well, so we're going to get this.
We'll come back to that. I'm sorry.
No problem. You're on the air with Stand Up Strong. Who's this?
Hello.
Hello, who's this?
This is Hamilton Rodriguez. How you doing?
Oh, and on the air we have Hamilton Rodriguez, who pulled papers to run for mayor. How are you doing, Hamilton?
I'm doing really well. I'm here resting on a Sunday.
There you go. And you called in for what purpose?
With regards to Millennium Motors, I think a better site for the city to buy, to store the buses where they're using now for rent. They should propose to buy the fairgrounds. They're already there. Even if they pay extra for the fairgrounds, I think that's a better strategic location where they could build multiple community centers, other municipal opportunities there, in addition to housing the buses, which is right across the street from the high school. I think even if they do sell the fairgrounds to the city for, let's say, $10-15 million, it's better than paying for a smaller parcel of land for $5 million. You know what I mean?
Okay,
so
and
in addition, the Millennium Motors purchase is not an eminent domain purchase, because eminent domain basically means for the benefit of the public. So buying Millennium Motors is not going to benefit the public. Now, if you're buying a building to put a highway across the way, that's considered an eminent domain, or to build a municipal property. That's considered eminent domain. So for eminent domain, it has to be for the benefit of the general public. So, and then you give them 125% over the appraised value.
Okay.
And that's how eminent domain works. So
and
Motors is a private sale.
Right. And we'll definitely, I'm going to ask Jamal the question, and Hamilton, just to let you know, and if you know Stand Up Strong, we're definitely going to be giving you a call because you're running for mayor. Jamal was the first one, unfortunately. I know him well, so I always like him on the show because, like anyone,
Yeah.
he's out first, but we're definitely going to have you coming in, and also here and on Brockton Cable.
Hamilton, we're so glad that you called in. One of the quick questions, it's no secret that you are a real estate Caesar across the Commonwealth. You own real estate, you know real estate. One of the things that I'm just a common citizen looking at the map. We love Jamal's presentation. So can you give us fairly quickly, because we want to continue our interview with him, is the $5.5 million an unreasonable private purchase with respect to the city of Brockton and Millennium?
Well, on one hand, it's not unreasonable because a property owner can price his property whatever he wants. It's up to the buyer to make a logical decision if that's a logical, reasonable purchase for the city. Now, if the owner wants $5.5 million, the city can't tell him to lower his price. You understand?
Yes, sir.
So the question is not who's selling, the question is who's buying, and are they making the right decision?
That's okay. All right, fair enough.
And that was the question before: is how much?
Yeah. Well, so
if the city buys it
Right.
at $5.5 million, how much are we selling it for?
Yeah.
If it's $3.5 million, no. If it's $8.5 million,
Well, so one thing I want to highlight is that for anyone who watches the Finance Committee meeting when it was first addressed about 4 weeks ago, the city solicitor disclosed that we call this a friendly seller, because this seller is
friendly seller.
Yeah, so the seller is willing to. I mean, the legal entity that owns this asset is willing to sell it to the city.
Yeah.
Now, when you do eminent domain, you normally do it on a property owner who doesn't want to sell.
Right.
So if they're willing to sell it, the only logic in doing it through eminent domain is so they can get paid the 125% premium on top of the appraisal value, which is a disservice to the city of Brockton. For anyone who's a real estate connoisseur, you would know better than that. Now, Hamilton happens to be not just a real estate agent, but he's a broker.
Right.
So he has agents that work underneath him, and so that Sorry.
Well, listen, we could go on and on.
To round up,
Hamilton, we'll get you on the show. We can go on and on like this about this. Thank you for calling in. Wow.
And just so again, it won't it will be for this show on Sundays. It will also that last few years I've been running the interviews for Brockton Cable, or they're allowing me, letting me think.
Well, cable is public access.
So I've been organizing that also. So we're definitely going to get you on multiple times. Again, thank you for calling in. You have anytime you ever want to call in, just give us a call.
So one of the.
Good luck, Jamal, man. You're a rock star, man.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hamilton, for calling in. So, Jamal, I'm just going to, because look, now we're down to 3 minutes. Safe schools, safe streets, safe neighborhoods. A lot of people, politicians say this, but what does it really mean? I've taken a different position. I've been on the school committee for 7 years, and I've seen a lot of different things that are happening with young adults. Let me just ask you, this latest incident, I'm challenging people saying that, hey, Brockton police can only respond to what they know. We have enough laws on the books. We have enough we have enough disciplinary stuff on the books. The kids have the ability to text message if there's something that's going to go down at the school. Is it? Let's be honest. Is there really a solution?
We got 2 minutes. I just want to say one thing because I don't want to stop this conversation. We're going to talk about it next week. But we're listening to the book bans, and I say if it can happen somewhere else, it can happen here. Just so you know, and we'll talk about it next week.
The kid with the street?
Sleeping Beauty has now been banned in Florida. We'll get into that next week. I can wait on that.
No, I love that, but we also have the issue of the kid's shirt.
Yeah, and we'll bring that up. We'll bring that up again.
So,
Jamal, what are we doing about violence?
Regarding the incident that happened on Friday, May 12th at 2:08 p.m. at Brockton High School. So this incident happened after school. To prevent a reoccurrence of this type of criminality in our public school system. The tone comes from the top. And in Brockton, the tone should be set by the mayor, who's the chairman of the school committee, which means that all the facts regarding this incident should be composed in writing and communicated to not just the school department, to the public. And the mayor should make sure every single public school student, middle school and high school, has a clear understanding that this kid
criminality
that actually put a knife in these other kids, they have destroyed not only they destroyed their own life, they've thrown their own life away. And the thing about it, and I think that it's important for young people to know the repercussions for these type of acts, but also we need to have more after school programs for kids to look forward to. So when they're in school, they're looking forward to what they're doing after school.
But in all fair, one of the things that we do love about you is not just me saying that, the community has said that, is that you remain on the facts. The facts of it is that this happened after school. It happened after school. So this could have also happened while these kids were going to an after-school program. And then we hear that their rumor is that somebody was literally just trying to break up the fight and got knifed. But one of the things that Jamal just said, the criminality of what's going on with some of our young adults that we don't want to happen.
Once the mayor discloses the facts in writing, we can have a more constructive conversation. One thing I just want to highlight, because I appreciate it's 3:00. I just want to highlight, if anyone wants a volunteer for the campaign, we need volunteers. You can call me directly at 774-428-1525. If you want to donate, go to my website, voteforjamal.com. I'm also hosting a campaign kickoff event at the Perfect Place on Thursday, May 25th from 6 to 8:30 p.m. We're going to have a dinner. Please come through, have dinner at 2039 Main Street in Brockton, Massachusetts. And the budget book for fiscal year 2024 should be available Tuesday, May 30th. Please pay attention and come attend the public hearing that will take place the week of June 15th, before the city council approves the budget.
You all, Jamal. We had Jamal in the studio, running for at-large city of Brockton. It's got these nice blue, navy blue. You all see this navy blue? I don't know where.
In the backside, in the back. Oh, shucks.
So we got a lot of people that will be running for these council seats. And Jamal, thank you for coming in. And you know what? Can we just say thank you for being honest?
Yeah.
Thank you for being honest and thorough. Jamal Brathwaite.
Thank you.
One more time, when is your fundraiser?
My fundraiser is Thursday, May 25th. At the Perfect Place, located at 2039 Main Street in Brockton. Every and anyone's welcome to attend. I'd love to. It's a formal campaign announcement. I'm hosting dinner, and please just come by, listen, learn, provide input. Call me anytime, 774-428-1525. I love Brockton. We love Brockton. Let's make it a better and best place in America.
There you go. Well, Ed, you did it again. We're going to talk about that T-shirt next week, though.
Yes. Definitely. Thank you.
You all
be back next week.
Yeah, please have a blessed balance of your Sunday. Happy Mother's Day. God bless.